Hi, I'm Megan Adams, and I'm a social media strategist. In this course, I'm looking forward to teaching you how you can effectively use Twitter for your business. We'll take a look at how to set up your business profile, how to create marketable tweets, and look at techniques for lead generation. This course is a great place to start if you're brand new to Twitter, learning the latest interface changes, or building your first business account. Every day, over 300 million people worldwide turn to Twitter to talk about things that are important to them. They might be interacting with a trending topic, such as the Olympics, learning about world events, talking about their day to day life, or interacting with brands like yours. When we think about Twitter for business, we're really thinking about how to create and capture these conversations. With such a huge audience represented on Twitter, it's a valuable place to position your brand. You might leverage Twitter to share details on a new product, behind the scenes look at your process, or helpful tips that in turn engage with your customers and prospects. You might even convey your brand's personality by sharing other news from your industry or adding an opinion to an existing topic. As a business, the most tangible goal when using Twitter is to gain your followers. And you do so by adding value to the Twitter network. By obtaining followers, you deepen existing customer relationships and develop new leads, all while building a visible presence. Almost every major brand has a presence on Twitter, each with a unique goal. But at the core, the biggest benefit to being on Twitter is having another platform to educate and engage with current and potential customers. One thing to note in your strategy before launching on Twitter is that it is a timely network. This means it requires a willingness to commit to frequent posts and ability to answer and engage with your audience essentially in real time. Otherwise, your brand runs a risk of looking stale and unengaged. These frequent posts also allow your followers to engage in what are called micro moments. Over 80% of users are accessing Twitter on mobile devices, which means they're checking in on Twitter throughout the day. It's less of a sit down and spend hours on Twitter and more of a place to spend several minutes many times a day. And all these little interactions can then add up to meaningful moments for your brand. It might sound crazy, but customers really do enjoy interacting with brands on Twitter. They love to give a shout out for a job well done just as much as they like to know that you're responsible should issues arise. The first step for any business looking to use Twitter as a marketing platform is to determine if you're willing to commit the necessary resources to maintain your presence on Twitter. As a starting point, decide to interact once or twice per day at a minimum until you see what works best for your business. With the right level of commitment, businesses can see great results. Twitter claims that people are 72% more likely to make a future purchase from a business after they follow or interact with them on Twitter. People want to hear from businesses on Twitter. It's a quick way to evaluate a brand, check for a special offer, and see what others have to say. Once you decide to use Twitter for your business, the right time investment mixed with a high quality strategy will likely lead your brand to grow. I often compare the terms used on Twitter to a different language. There's a lot of lingo that is commonplace within the Twitter community, but once you familiarize yourself with the terms and even start using them regularly, you'll quickly learn how to speak the Twitter language. Let's take some time to become familiar with this terminology. We'll review some of the most popular terms together. First is the Twitter handle or the Twitter username. This is how you're found on Twitter, and it's a public representation of your company. You'll notice that the usernames are preceded with the @ symbol. And this @ symbol identifies a username as a Twitter profile. It's also how you'll reference other users when publishing tweets. For example, the username for LinkedIn is represented as @LinkedIn. Next is a tweet. A tweet is a short message published by a person or company on Twitter. It might contain a photo, video, link, and is up to 280 characters of text. The act of sending this message is called tweeting or sending a tweet. Your timeline is a real-time feed of these tweets. You may also hear me reference this as a stream or a feed. Your home timeline displays a stream of tweets from accounts you've chosen to follow on Twitter. You may see suggested content powered by a variety of signals, and you can reply, retweet, or like a tweet all from within this timeline. Following someone on Twitter is basically subscribing to see that user's updates in your timeline. You begin following by clicking the follow button found in various places on Twitter next to a username. And when you follow someone, they'll be notified and then they'll be listed in the following section of your Twitter profile. A follower is someone who has chosen to receive your updates in their own timeline. And this is the main focus of businesses on Twitter. Gaining followers is similar to getting likes on Facebook. The difference here is that majority of those tweets will be delivered to the timeline of your followers in chronological order. You can also see how many followers you have from your own Twitter profile. Top tweets are posts that Twitter thinks you're likely to care about the most. Twitter chooses them based on accounts you interact with the most, tweets you engage with, and other factors of data that they collect. The act of tweeting can involve some additional terminology, and there's some interesting nuances I'd like to point out. First is the reply. Then we have the mention, the direct message, the hashtag, and the retweet. When you reply, you join in on an existing conversation by clicking the reply button on a tweet. The reply posts an update and references the usernames you were replying to, and that shows up at the front of the tweet. People only see other replies in their home timeline if they follow both the sender and the recipient of the message. But they'll be able to see any reply by visiting your profile directly. Next is the mention. Sometimes you want to bring a tweet to someone's attention, but you still want all of your followers to see this message. For that, you'll use the mention factor. This is a Twitter update that contains the username anywhere in the message except at the very beginning. These mentions are collected by Twitter and appear in the Mentions tab on the Notifications page. You can mention multiple handles in a single tweet. A direct message or DM is if you need to have a private conversation. You can start this conversation or create a private group conversation with anyone who follows you. Typically, you can only send a direct message to users who's following you. Anyone you do not follow can send you a DM if you've opted in to receive that direct message from anyone, or you've previously sent that person a direct message. A hashtag is any word beginning with the pound symbol. People use hashtags to reference a specific topic, and clicking on a hashtag takes you to a search result for that specific term. An example here is the hashtag Olympics opening ceremony. If I select that hashtag, I'll then see what everyone is saying about this Olympics opening ceremony, and I can see all that information by simply clicking on that hashtag. Next is a retweet, or it'll also be shown as RT. A retweet is the act of passing along someone's tweet into your feed. It's a way of resharing something or letting someone know you like what they have to say. They'll continue to receive credit for the message, but it'll appear in your timeline as well with a small symbol indicating that it is a retweet. It's your turn. Take some time and become familiar with this terminology. An additional resource for Twitter terms is a Twitter glossary. You can locate it by visiting the link you see on your screen. One of the most important elements of Twitter is the username. The username is how people will interact with your business. You'll want to take some time to secure an appropriate one because much of your success is going to hinge specifically on the name that you choose. Now, for most brands, this might be easy. You'll just use your company name. But what if that's not available? Or maybe your name is too long or not descriptive enough. For that, I want to talk about all the do's and don'ts of a username. And one more thing before we get started, if you already have a Twitter username that you're not completely sold on, you can always change it. First, in choosing a username, it's important to make your Twitter handle something relevant to your brand. I'd stay away from anything random and instead pick something specific. Don't be afraid to use your personal name if you're a consultant or the face of your brand. Before we get too far into talking about the names, I want to show you an example of how this might look in choosing a username for your brand. Right now, I'm on the Topsy Turvy Cake Design Twitter profile. What you'll notice is that Twitter displays this profile name and username. So up at the top, below the profile picture, it says Audrey Topsy. That's the name of the account. Below that, denoted by the @ symbol, that is the Twitter username or handle. So here we see it is @Topsy Cake Design. One thing to note is that capitalization is basically just for looks. it doesn't change any functionality. So here we can see really clearly that any tweet that mentions Topsy Cake Design will show up exactly like that. And when people search for Audrey Topsy, they're going to be searching for the @Topsy Cake Design handle. Let's go over some more specific do's and don'ts for choosing a Twitter username. The best tip is to keep it short. The shorter the username, the more room people will have when they create a tweet to you, and typically shorter names are more memorable. So when someone goes to create a tweet, they have a limited number of characters. If your name is 120 characters long, they are limited. If your Twitter handle is shorter, then people will also be able to type more in their message to you. It'll also mean less typos. Secondly, avoid using any underscores. This really isn't the norm on Twitter to use them, and it comes across a bit odd and outdated. It's also hard for people to remember and even more difficult to type out on a mobile keyboard. Third, avoid using any numbers that aren't relevant. If a name you want is taken, it's not the best idea to just put a number at the end of it. If Topsy Cake Design was taken, I wouldn't want to add a 23 to the end, and now my username is @TopsyCakeDesign23, when there's already an existing Topsy Cake Design. This is for a number of reasons. First, it creates brand confusion. Secondly, as we interact on Twitter, you'll notice that when you start to type a username, Twitter brings a drop down of all the available usernames. If you tack on a random number at the end, someone else might not be paying attention and start engaging with the other username instead of your own. Your company slogan is a great place to look for inspiration. Being on brand as much as possible will help maintain consistency and reinforce your business to new leads on Twitter. If you're really stuck, you may also consider using a relevant keyword in your username. If you think that your brand might benefit from discovery through Twitter search, keywords can be a huge help. Let's say someone is searching for a coffee shop using Twitter search, and using one of those search terms or keywords in your username may help you show up. Take time to brainstorm some usernames that are on brand for your company. Or if you already have a username, take a look at it. Is it really clear? Does it accurately represent your brand on Twitter? The right username will go a long way as you build out your presence on the Twitter network. Signing up for a Twitter account is very straightforward. To get started, you'll head to twitter.com and select that big blue sign up button right in the middle. It's here that Twitter is going to walk you through the steps in order to create your account. First, you'll notice that Twitter is asking us to provide a name, a phone, or an email address. Where it says full name, you're going to go ahead and enter in the name of your business. I'll be signing up for Twitter as a brand called Topsy Turvy Cake Design. This account already exists on Twitter, but we're going to walk through these steps as if it were a brand new account. Next, it's looking for a phone, but I always prefer using email, so I'm going to select use email instead, and here is where I'll enter my email address. Once my email has been entered, I'm going to go ahead and select next. It's here that Twitter wants to customize my experience. So it's asking me if it's okay to send me personalized ads, as well as track where I see Twitter content across the web. Depending on your privacy settings, you might check them or uncheck them. I'm going to keep them checked for now. Here I get a little bit of an overview of my account, so I'm signing up for Topsy Turvy Cake Design, along with the email address I want to associate with that account. Once that looks good, I'm going to go ahead and select sign up. Twitter is looking for me to verify that I actually own the email address that I signed up with. So what I'm going to do is head over to my account and find the code that they sent. Once I receive it, I'm going to enter it into the box here. Next, it's time to pick a secure password. Twitter will let you sign up with a non-complex one, but I highly recommend using at least a special character and number and even mixing the uppercase and lowercase in the password itself. So I'm going to go ahead and enter mine in. Now Twitter is going to walk me through all the different steps of creating a profile, including adding the picture, but I'm going to skip that for now. Next is going to add a bio, and I'm going to skip that for now as well, so we can get through this process. Okay, so interests. Twitter's always looking to customize its experience for its Twitter users. This means you're brand new on Twitter. It wants to get you following accounts and actually have content in your newsfeed. So here's where you can put what you're interested in. So because we're topsy-turvy cake design, we're going to see if we can add some baking and some cake design. That isn't an option. We'll just X out of that and keep baking as our interest and then select next. Twitter will always have a robust set of suggestions, so it's pretty fun to peruse them. For now, we're going to select next. Notifications are when Twitter's letting you know that there's activity on your account. It's really up to you whether you want to receive them or not. I'm going to skip for now. And here we are, our Twitter account has been set up. Again, Twitter's walking you through the steps. You can customize your view. You can also see what's new on Twitter as the platform just underwent a recent change. Now I'm going to take a look at my Twitter username. So I'm going to head to settings and privacy, and under login and security, I'm going to check on the username. So Twitter automatically created our Cake Topsy username for us. You might not want to stick with what Twitter automatically creates for you. Because the username I'm looking for is already created with our other account, I'm going to see if there's some other ways. So perhaps we could do Topsy Cakes. Topsy Cake Design, and then we could put our location, Connecticut. So there's going to be all kinds of different ways that you can tweak your username and change it and move it around. The important thing is knowing that this is a location to change your username and that you do have the flexibility to change it at any time. If you do change your username and you already have followers, be sure to let them know by sending a tweet that you have a new name. Note that you won't lose any followers, but they may try to mention you through your old username. Take some time now to brainstorm an on-brand username if you don't already have one that's easy to remember, and then go through the Twitter sign-up process. The right username will go a long way as you build your presence on Twitter. Let's take a tour of the Twitter interface. For the purpose of this movie, we'll be interacting with the desktop version of Twitter. We're here on Twitter and we've logged into our account. If you've just signed up, your interface will look pretty empty. But once you get active, your homepage will start to look like what you're seeing here. This is your homepage or your home timeline, and it's where you'll see your Twitter timeline. Your home timeline displays a stream of tweets from accounts that you've chosen to follow on Twitter. Twitter used to display content in a completely chronological order, but things have been shifting. Now, tweets you're likely to care about the most will show up first in your timeline. You may also begin to see promoted tweets, and these are tweets that advertisers have paid to show up in your newsfeed. As I scroll through the topsy-turvy timeline, we can see that tweets contain everything from text to links, videos, and images. Scrolling back up at the top, our main menu takes place and shows up on the left. Now you can select the Twitter icon up at the top on the left to always head back to the view that you see here. Below that, we have a series of different tabs. Currently, we are in the Home tab. This is where I'm able to create a tweet right at the top, and then I'm also able to see the stream of tweets that Twitter decides to show me. Below that, I have the Explore tab. This is where I get to see the trending topics on Twitter. Now, Twitter is going to try to find trends that you might be the most interested in. The more that you use Twitter, the more curated it's going to be. If I scroll down here, I can see what is trending in specific locations. And if I scroll up back at the top, it's here that I can actually drill down into more specific topics. So I get the news, I can check on sports, fun, and entertainment. Below Explore are my notifications. So this is any time that someone is mentioned Topsy Cake Design and anything related to my activity and engagement on Twitter. You'll also notice that we're in the all stream, so this is any type of engagement. But if I go over and select mentions, these are the direct mentions that mention Topsy Cake Design. So this is a great stream to pay attention to make sure that you're engaging back with people on Twitter. Below notifications are messages. So this is your direct message folder. This is where you can send a message, this is where you receive messages, and this is where you can also start a conversation with a group of people. Now, depending on your privacy settings, you can only receive direct messages from people that you follow. Underneath that is a bookmarks option. So this is where I have the ability to add any tweets to my bookmarks. I might reference any links that I want to check out in the future if I don't have time, or I can keep track of what my competition is doing on Twitter and do a little bit of market research. This is where they're going to show up. Below that are lists. This is where I can keep track and tabs of people and accounts on Twitter. So here you can see that I've already created a list called Brands I Like, and LinkedIn is one of them. So it is automatically going to show any tweets from the people that I follow. To the right of that, I have the members option. So this is where I can see all the members in the Brands I Like list I've created. And what's really neat is that there's also the ability for people to subscribe to other people's lists. So on a personal front, as a marketing professional, I subscribe to a lot of lists that other marketers create. I find it really, really interesting. Below that is a profile option. This is where I'm going to go when I want to edit my profile. I can change my profile image, my header, as well as any bio information. I can also see what is happening on my own personal stream and the tweets that I've tweeted out. Below profile is the more option. So this is going to get me additional settings. This is where I'm going to be able to find Twitter ads, analytics, as well as settings and privacy. Now, these other tabs are really important to check out, but I think the most important one here is the settings and privacy. In the settings and account is where you can set up your privacy options and make sure that your account and your personal information is protected to your comfort level. It's also where you're able to change your password, you can deactivate your account, as well as you can set up any data and permissions. Settings is a place that I recommend you checking out and going through each individual option when you're first setting up a Twitter account, and even if you feel like you haven't been in touch lately. I'm going to head back to the home section here. And I want to call quickly your attention to what happens when I select a tweet. Notice that the tweet now pops up and is a bit larger. This is where I'm able to engage with it. The first option is the dialogue bubble, and this is where I can directly reply. A reply isn't limited just to text. I can also include an image, a GIF, a poll, and an emoticon. To the right of that is where I can retweet it. So I can retweet it without adding a comment, or I can choose retweet with a comment. Here it looks very similar to the reply option, except that the tweet is going to maintain in this little box below, and then I can add a comment to it. To the right of that is where I can choose to like the tweet, and then from here, I can also get a bit more granular. So I can send a direct message. This is where I can add the tweet to my bookmarks, and then I can also copy a link to the tweet to send out or to eventually embed in a website. Now on the right-hand side, we haven't looked at that. These are the trends that are being suggested for the account. If you feel that they're not very specific, then use Twitter more, engage more, and Twitter will do a better job curating. And at the top is where you can search Twitter. So you can find conversations to join, find accounts that you want to follow, and just see what's going on Twitter. It really is important to have a solid grasp of where to find the most pertinent information, and the search function is going to help. Take time to tour your own interface. What does your profile look like? Are you comfortable exploring Twitter? Are you comfortable replying to a tweet? The more you practice and familiarize yourself with this interface, the more quickly you're going to build your Twitter presence. Your Twitter profile says a lot about your business. Your name, bio, header image, and profile picture should all work together to tell the story of your brand. Let's look at the big picture of why your profile is so pivotal to your brand's success on Twitter. Anytime someone taps on your username or visits your page directly, they'll have an opportunity to step into an experience that you've intentionally crafted for them. You have a few moments to capture their interest and provide a visual cue that they can identify with. All of this is in the hope that they're going to read your tweets or choose to follow you. When you really think about it, your Twitter profile is a landing page. Consider your own browsing habits. You'll likely make decisions based on the look and feel of a particular page. If something feels off, maybe it's lack of cohesiveness or a bad color palette, either way, you might have trouble trusting the experience. If you click on a particular product and the images are bold and radical, you might either identify with the brand or be put off. Use your Twitter profile to speak directly to the demographic you want to target. To show you what I mean, I've pulled up the LinkedIn Twitter profile. Right away, we see that LinkedIn logo, really recognizable. There's also a header image that contains visual elements related to the LinkedIn brand and what it is all about, along with the text or hashtag "in it together." If I look below the profile image, I can see the username LinkedIn, and below that is the bio. If I look over the bio, it's here that I can see everything that I need to know about this account in one or a couple short sentences. Here we see there are 20 million jobs on LinkedIn. Find one meant for you, hashtag "in it together." And then they also have a link to their LinkedIn help department. Basically, that's LinkedIn customer service on Twitter. You'll also notice they've brought a relevant hashtag in the bio, "in it together." And they've tied that in with a header image at the top. Right now, we can tell that the conversation that LinkedIn wants to have is about being in it together. So when it comes to creating an experience, you can start by asking yourself, what is the most important aspect to the customer? LinkedIn's answer to that is that there are 20 million jobs on LinkedIn, and that we're more powerful as a collective to find jobs, create jobs, and basically support one another from that aspect. For your brand, how can you create that cohesive viewpoint on Twitter like LinkedIn? Craft a bio, first of all, that does use a language your target demographic or target customer is going to resonate with, and then images that they feel home around. It's true, you can't win everyone over, but if you speak directly to your target audience using their language and capturing their attention with your profile, you'll be able to create an opportunity where you stand out in your own niche. Invest in the Twitter experience, and you'll most certainly convert new users and grow your following base. Before you start growing your Twitter fan base, you'll want to spend some time setting up your photo and header image. Together, we're going to walk through the process of selecting great imagery and uploading it to your Twitter profile. The first thing you'll notice is that we are on the Profile tab for Audrey Topsy, which is a Topsy Cake Design account. And you'll know what tab you're on by looking at the left-hand menu, and we'll select Profile. In order to get that header image uploaded or the profile picture, you're going to select Edit Profile just to the right of the profile image. Here you can see that we have no header image uploaded, but we do have a profile picture. The profile photo is the thumbnail that displays next to every tweet that you publish. The profile photo is arguably the most important visual element of your Twitter profile, and when paired alongside your handle, it provides immediate brand visibility. As a business, you'll usually want your logo for this. However, it is important to remember that Twitter will scale this image down to a pretty small size and a circular icon. If you have a complex logo or wordmark with little imagery, you may want to create something unique for Twitter. At the end of the day, you really want to choose an image that perfectly represents your brand, be it a logo, photo, or some sort of iconography that comes with your logo. If your business is all about you, then a flattering headshot is the ideal option, and that's what we're looking at here for Audrey Topsy. We can go about adding our profile in one of two ways. We can do it from the homepage, or here we can do it from the edit option. Now, in order to upload, it's really simple. Simply select the camera icon, and it's going to take you to the place on your computer where you are going to locate the image that you want to upload. I'm simply going to select that file, choose Open, and it's here that this media dialog box is going to show up. I have the option of cropping it or moving the image around if necessary. When it is set up perfectly, choose Apply. You'll notice then that Twitter automatically places it in that circular frame. Next up is a header photo, and this is really where you can showcase your brand. It's where new followers and visitors will get an immediate sense of who your company is. I recommend uploading a header image that's at least 1500 by 500 pixels. And once you've identified something, it's an identical process to adding the profile photo. We're going to simply select the camera icon, and I'm going to choose the header image that I have created for my account and select Open. It's here again that we have some editing options. Once that looks good, just select Apply. And it's here that we can see the header has been applied. I'm going to go ahead and choose Save so we can see how it looks on the profile itself. And here, now that we're on the profile, we can see the header image has been uploaded and that we also have a nice, clear profile picture of Audrey Topsy. Feel free to get creative with your profile photo and header images. The sizing of the header is a bit funky, so you can always use a service like Canva.com or hire someone from a place like Fiverr.com to create a specific header for your profile. Use this as an opportunity to really showcase your brand with large, rich on-brand images. Alongside a high-quality header image and profile photo should be a clear, concise bio that describes your brand. Your Twitter bio is visible on your profile page, and when a user clicks on your handle for more information, it's what they see first. It's your chance to share a message that inspires people to follow you. A Twitter bio is short, around 160 characters short. I typically tell people to think of a company's bio like an elevator pitch. But in the case of Twitter, an elevator pitch is even too long. What you need is a pitch you give when someone is already stepping off the elevator and the doors are closing behind you. What's the most important thing that that person needs to know? Typically, you want to tell someone your unique selling point, why you're qualified and how to find you, or a call to action. You want to stand out from the crowd. You're going to be adding your Twitter bio from your profile page, and that's where I am here. Currently, I'm on the Topsy Cake Design profile, and you'll always locate your profile using the menu at the left. Currently, we can see the Topsy Cake Design bio, and it's right underneath the username. Here we can see that it says, designing custom all-natural cakes for my clients is my passion. View our selection of cakes, and then the link. A great feature of a bio is the ability to include links, handles, and even hashtags. And this really can bring your profile to life and lends credibility that you understand Twitter, the ecosystem, and are engaged in the community. Let's go ahead and select Edit Profile, and that's going to take us deeper into the bio. This is also where you will be able to edit your own. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can communicate who you are and what you do, and there's also an opportunity to have an ever-changing, ever-rotating bio. The best thing to do when you're learning marketing is to test. So perhaps you find that you have some specific hashtags or links in your bio that perform really well. The only way you're going to know that they're performing well is by testing them out. Let's go ahead and change up this bio and see what we can come up with. Okay, so we've changed this around a little bit. Notice that we also now have a hashtag. We've also removed the link from the bio, and we're going to let that live under the website category. That means that we get a bit more space. So we changed it to I Bake Award-Winning Cakes, winner of the Baker of the Year 2017-2018 and semifinalist in the Great Bake Off 2020, now accepting orders. This is a great place to really establish your credibility. I love when people add their awards or publications or anything that really lends how professional they are in a specific niche. Below that, we have the location. So with brick and mortar, it's especially important to be able to share your location. If you're a digital nomad, this might not be as pertinent. So you might be putting the place where you are currently, maybe it's Bali, Indonesia, or you're in Ireland for a month. So you can be creative with that, because remember, your bio can be dynamic. Below is the website, so that's a link that's going to show up. That's where you want people to take action. And then underneath is the birth date. So here you can choose whether it's your business's birth date or your own personal one if you don't have a problem sharing that. I'm going to go ahead and select Save, and we're going to see how this looks. So here we can see the bio has been updated, the hashtag works, and so when people either search for that term, this profile is likely to show up, or they can go ahead and select on that hashtag and have a lot of fun seeing the related content. Remember to make your bio authentic, concise, and really emphasize the reason why people should follow you on Twitter. Be as creative and unique as possible. Twitter is built around short, timely messages. This means that something important might get pushed further and further down your business's Twitter page because you're constantly sharing new information and engaging with your customers. Twitter has a feature called Pinned Tweets to help with this. This lets you select a particular tweet to appear at the top of your stream. When users then visit your profile, they'll see it displayed in a larger font and at the top of the page, regardless of when you actually published the message. This is really useful if you're hoping to get extra engagement on the tweet or if you have an important message to your customers. A pinned tweet is all about the experience that you create for users arriving at your profile for the first time. It can supplement a bio, contain rich media such as video or an image, or even include a link with a descriptive call to action. To pin a tweet to your profile, you need to select an existing tweet that you've already published. You'll find that tweet either from your feed or from your profile page. I'm here on the profile page for Topsy Turvy Cake Design. I'm going to locate a tweet that I'm going to pin. First, I want to call your attention, we do have a pinned tweet. Notice that it shows right at the top of the stream. And I want to point out this is a perfect tweet to pin. So it really highlights the portfolio from Topsy Cake Design. It shows off the cakes. It's like a rotating portfolio. So that's perfect. If I want to pin the tweet below instead, I'm simply going to select the down arrow. And then it's here that I have the option to pin to your profile. When I select that, it's going to unpin the previous one and pin this one. So I'm going to select pin. If we scroll back to the top, here we can see that this one has replaced that video pin. And to remove it is just as easy. I'm simply going to select unpin from profile, choose unpin, and now we have no pinned tweets at the top. Pinning a tweet is a valuable tool to put your most important content front and center. Use a tweet that has a high value for your brand, and you can change it at whatever frequency suits your needs. It will never expire. Remember that when it comes to your content, you want it to be as current as possible, so you don't want that tweet to become too stale. Make sure that you write into your strategy how often you are pinning these tweets, or just make sure that they are staying fresh. With your business on Twitter, it's a great opportunity to explore what other businesses similar to yours are doing and even connect with them. Take a minute to catalog what they're doing well, what you might improve if you were them, and the level of responsiveness they're receiving from their audience. Next, you'll want to follow a core group of users. As a business, who you follow is just as much a part of your brand as what you tweet. When you follow someone, you're making it known that you're interested in what they have to say, and it's a subtle endorsement. With a personal profile, we're often a lot less strict about who we follow. We might follow a politically charged profile because we appreciate the perspective. We might also follow things we don't necessarily agree with or align on, but find value in staying connected to. As a business, it's better to put things through the perspective of your audience. You might not want your business to be aligned with a political agenda or a particular celebrity or even other brands. With that said, it's still really important to follow people on Twitter. For one, it's really important to participate in the ecosystem. Twitter is as much about listening as it is about sharing. When you follow Twitter users, you'll get their tweets in your newsfeed, and it's valuable to follow brands whose content you intend to engage with. One thing to note when we talk about following other brands and other profiles on Twitter is that you don't have to follow everyone back who follows you. Twitter is a flexible environment, so that means that the quantity of people that you follow or follows you can always be in flux, and that's okay. It may be tempting to follow everyone back, but it isn't necessary. To start following someone, you can find them by visiting their Twitter page directly, or you can do a search for a topic or Twitter handle. You can also use the Who to Follow section. This makes recommendations based on the type of content you're tweeting or the types of sites you're visiting. Let's take a look at how this will appear on Twitter. Here we are on the homepage for Audrey Topsy, and that's the handle Topsy Cake Design. Say that I want to follow Martha Stewart. One of the easiest ways is going to be using this search function at the top right. Here I can type in any keyword, person, topic, anything that I'm looking for specifically, and Twitter is going to find it and show me those results. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Martha Stewart. Here I can see that Twitter has created a drop-down with some search functions, but I'm going to simply select enter and see what pops up. Really easy. Here we can see all the Martha accounts. We have the Martha Stewart account and then the Martha Stewart Living. Let's go ahead and select Martha Stewart Living. Now that we're in the profile, we can see really clearly our option to follow. To the left of the three dots, I want to select that because this is where you can have some additional following functionality. This means that we can add Martha to a list, we can view moments specifically, and then we can even have an option to mute or block Martha. We might not need to do that with Martha, but this might come in handy if you are having any kind of trolling experience on Twitter. So I'm going to exit out of that and I'm going to simply select follow. Here you can see that we are now following Martha Stewart Living, and any of Martha's tweets as we scroll down are going to show up in our home timeline. That's as simple as it is to follow. Twitter makes it really easy. Now, if I go to my profile and I scroll down, here you can see that we are following 17 people. When I select that, here we can see Martha at the top. If I change my mind, I can simply hover over following and choose unfollow, and that has been zeroed out. Now it's your turn. Start by identifying 10 to 15 accounts for your business to follow on Twitter. Once you follow them, start taking a look at their tweets and seeing if there's moments where you can engage and interact with them. That way you become an active member of the Twitter community, and you'll have a lot of fun finding people you have stuff in common with. For many brands, it can be extremely valuable to connect on Twitter with your colleagues, your customers, and even your prospects. This not only lets them know that you're on Twitter, but it also allows you to join in on any conversations they're already having. It can be time-consuming trying to discover the Twitter handles for all your contacts manually. So Twitter has developed a tool that lets you match contacts from your email address book to their handles on Twitter. You'll only be able to find and follow contacts that have opted in to allow others to find them via email, but it can be a pretty good match rate. This might also be a feature you decide to opt in for so others can connect with you on Twitter as well. This feature might not be particularly useful if you're promoting a traditional business brand, one where following your contacts isn't necessarily going to provide you with much benefit. Twitter's only going to provide you with the option to follow your existing contacts, and you can invite them to follow you. You'll also find that sending an email announcement or simply listing the Twitter handle on your website and in your marketing materials will likely engage those who are already on Twitter. But there's still value in knowing your customers' Twitter handles. Let's go over how to do this. From Twitter, I'm going to select the More option, and that's in the menu at the left-hand side of the screen. When I choose that, I'm going to select Settings and Privacy. It's here that I get to choose a whole bunch of different options for my account, so this is a great place to explore. Our second step is going to be choosing the Privacy and Safety option. Now, if I scroll down, we're going to take a look at the Discoverability and Contacts section. I'm going to go ahead and choose that. It's here under Discoverability on the right-hand side that I can opt to allow others to find me by email address or not. And I can do that by simply checking the box or unselecting it. There's also the option to let others find you by phone number. And this makes a lot of sense if you're using Twitter via a mobile app and you don't necessarily have an email address associated or you're changing email addresses around, but I'm going to leave that off. Next is the Manage Contacts section, so I'm going to choose that. For security purposes, Twitter's going to want me to confirm my password, so I'm going to go ahead and type that in. And then I'm going to choose Confirm. It's here that Twitter is now going to sync all my contacts. Now, where the contacts are coming from is the email address that is associated with this Twitter account. Now, a lot of us don't hold all our contacts in our business accounts. So one way to kind of work around this is to associate a Gmail address with it. So what I could do is I could create a topsyturvy@gmail.com. I could upload my customer list to my address book, and then make sure that I use that email address for this Twitter account. That way, Twitter will know to pull those contacts from that specific Gmail account, and then it's going to show me the list of those email addresses that are associated with the Twitter handles. Yes, it's a little bit tedious, but when you're just getting started on Twitter and you're looking to build and you have a little bit of extra time, I think it really is important to start building that following. So once Twitter has imported those contacts, it's going to show us which ones are match, and then that's when you can explore the name, image, and bio and follow if it makes sense. Take your time and build a high quality fan base. Oftentimes, this will be slow but steady, and always aim for quality over quantity. Hashtags are a great way to explore concepts, find new information, and increase the reach of your tweets. Most conversations on Twitter involve a hashtag, especially those that are meant for larger audiences. It's a unique way of categorizing content. By applying a hashtag, you're essentially linking your tweet to that particular term. This term might be specific to a brand, a marketing campaign, an event, or even a location. Hashtags are a really great way to increase the discoverability of your content on Twitter. And when someone searches for a particular term or comes across a hashtag that is of interest, they can click on it. To show you what I mean, I'm here on the Topsy Cake Design profile, and you can see front row and center that there is a hashtag right in the bio, and that's Baker of the Year. Notice that a hashtag is a hyperlink. So when you hover over it, you can see that it's linked, and then when you click into it, it's going to take you to any time anyone has used that specific hashtag. So here we can see all the top posts or the most popular posts that include hashtag Baker of the Year. To the right of that is also the latest. So this is more chronologically. So this has to do with timeliness. The top is more relevancy. To the right is where we have the people option. So it's going to pull all the people that have that similar search term in their profile account username. Then Twitter is going to break that up by photos and videos. So for example, if you're looking for cake inspiration, you might want to choose photos or videos. So let's take another look at that. So let's go back to the profile. Here you can see that in a lot of the Topsy Cake Design tweets are hashtags at the bottom. This means that people are going to be seeing these tweets when they look through these hashtags. So I'm going to search cakes or click on cakes. Here again, we're brought to the same results. How fun to be able to look through all the different types of cakes that people are basically tagging. And then to make it really interesting, I can skip any tweets that don't have photos and just view those ones. Or I can even switch over to the videos option. Now to take it one step further is to choose the Explore menu option. In choosing the Explore menu option on the left, it's here that you can see I've typed in the DIY cakes design, and then we're going to get all the relevant information. You can also just choose to generally explore, even if you don't have any search terms in mind. So this is a great place to see what people are talking about. And then to the right are the trends. So we can see the most popular hashtags that are, quote, trending on Twitter. That means that there's a lot of people talking about that specific topic in a short period of time. So this is kind of cute. This is the best song after a breakup. And that's where people are going to be sharing the best song after a breakup. So here you can see truly the power of a hashtag. You can also see that they have a life of their own. It's kind of fun to figure out what hashtags work really well for your brand, what are going to help the reach of your content, and ones that are just clever and fun to use. Now, many businesses have been caught in embarrassing situations by commenting on seemingly innocent trends, only to find out that the true nature of that hashtag isn't something that they should be making light of. Make sure that when you're using a hashtag, you are searching for it and making sure it doesn't have a meaning that you aren't familiar with. Also, you don't need to overdo it with hashtags. When you compose a tweet, stick to one or two. Similar to the profile for Topsy Cake Design, 2 or 3 at the most hashtags will be perfect. Anything more, and it just gets a little bit convoluted. Brainstorm any hashtags that'll fit with your business and start integrating them into your tweet content. Twitter lists are an easy way to organize Twitter users into categories and to keep tabs on their tweets. What's great about Twitter lists is that you can use them to see tweets from people without even having to actually follow them. They're extremely helpful if you like to aggregate news sources, keep tabs on your competition, or maintain a list of friends and family without having to follow them as your business account. Think of a list as a curated newsfeed. You'll create a list, and that list will have its own content feed. You can create multiple lists, each with multiple followers. And you also have the ability to create them as private or public. Public is where you can have others follow that list. Or private is where, likely, in the case you would keep tab on your competitors and you don't want others to see that list. The easiest way to create a list is to choose an account that you want to add it to. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to search for Martha Stewart. I'm going to select into her profile, and in order to add to a list, I'm going to choose the 3 dots and choose Add Remove from a List. It's here that I'm going to choose the list that I want to add her to, and I'm going to choose Cake Designers and hit Save. Notice that now she's added to our list without even following her. Now I'll find all my lists located at the menu at the left, and I'm going to choose that. It's here I can see the 2 lists that Topsy Cake Design owns. The first one is Cake Designers, and that's public. And then the second one is Brands I Like, and that is private. And you can tell that's private with the little padlock next to it. Now, if I choose Cake Designers, it's here that I get the news feed. So this is all the activity that's going on with the members that are a part of this list. If I scroll down, it's here I can see all the content. To the right of that, that's where I get to see all the members that are a part of it. And further to the right, I can see if I have any subscribers or anyone who is following the list that I've created. Now, if I want to remove someone from the list, I'm simply going to do the same action as when I added them. So I'm going to go ahead and head to their profile, choose the 3 dots icon underneath the header image, select Add Remove from List, and then I'm going to simply uncheck it and select Save. So now Martha Stewart Living is no longer a part of the DIY Cake Designers list. Start by creating a list of your competition or people in your industry that you want to keep tabs on, and then maybe explore a news outlet specific to your industry. You could also create a list of influencers or brands that you admire. This is a great way to stay relevant, and if you're looking for ways to find conversations that are already happening on Twitter, that is going to be happening within the content in your lists. I highly recommend you use this feature from Twitter. Before you establish your business on Twitter, it's really important that you understand how you want to be perceived. The way your updates come across to followers is a big part of your brand personality. It defines who you are, how you think, and the vibe of your brand. Think of your brand personality as a human element of your business. Twitter's an informal network, so you need to balance being personal but also professional at the same time. The first way to do this is to make sure your tweets sound human. It doesn't mean that you have to throw out the essence of your brand. Just choose what your brand personality sounds like. Say it's sophisticated, you would then use language and imagery that support that notion. People do respond best to friendly and conversational tweets. And too much self-promotion will diminish the impact of your Twitter efforts. Start by defining the voice of your brand and be consistent. Are you going to speckle humor into your messaging, or do you like to share tidbits from the lives of your employees? Perhaps you promote a culture of transparency. Let your identity shine through. But stay consistent. Your voice should never change, but your tone can. You might be whimsical, but if a customer is struggling, you'll likely want to adjust your tone to be comforting, respectful, and even apologetic. Use your tone to tailor tweets to specific situations, and use your brand voice to maintain consistency for the broad appeal. Twitter is packed with brands, and to stand out, you'll want to share things that are unique to your business. Let your brand personality come through by posting behind the scenes photos, previews of your process, and stories of how you got where you are. One thing I can't stress enough is deciding how your brand responds to users. Are you a community perhaps centered on constantly engaging with your fans? Choosing best practices for Twitter on how you reply to your users is critical. A good practice is to always reply when people talk to you. Thank people for feedback, retweet ideas that fit with the voice of your brand, and avoid too much self-promotion. One last thing to consider is how you respond in a crisis. Say your website goes down. This is going to be your opportunity to let your audience know immediately that you're addressing their concerns. Twitter is often the first place people look for when a brand is encountering any type of difficulty. They want to hear what's going on and see a real-time update from you. They want to know that you know about the problem and that you're doing something about it and what they can expect. If you take too long trying to craft the perfect response, you'll likely get a little bit of blowback. That said, if you respond too quickly with a poorly constructed response, you might also experience repercussions. So knowing how you're going to respond to any issues that arise around your website or your PR or whatever is going on in your business is really important in your response to your users. So have a plan. In a nutshell, what you say, how you say it, and how often you say it all have a tremendous impact on the success of your Twitter marketing objectives. The heart of this all, and basically what I can sum this whole topic down to, is be authentic above anything else. The authenticity, the showing the human side of your business on Twitter is going to go so far. So keep authenticity as your guiding compass when crafting any type of strategy or tweets on Twitter. To be successful on Twitter, you really want to identify your core marketing objective. At a high level, what is it that you're hoping to accomplish by being on Twitter? Understanding your objective, you'll be able to quickly identify whether or not your efforts are panning out. For some brands, Twitter might simply be a customer support hub, a place to respond to customers and engage with their community. Perhaps your goals might be measured more on the qualitative scale. That's to say, you'll have to decide if the quality of your engagements are worth the effort. For other, brands might focus on brand recognition, so you'll spend your effort and energy building authority in your niche. Perhaps you're looking to drive more sales and to create more traffic to your website. These types of objectives are going to be measured on your return on investment, or you can see if you do have an increase in sales once you launch this marketing strategy. If sales are the goal, you'll need to attract followers, build high-quality tweets that gain traction, and include relevant calls to action to encourage the sales. So you can see why it is so important that you determine what your objectives are, because there's a lot of different ways to tackle them. So here's a quick look at some sample objectives, and some of them might be ones that you are actively looking to incorporate into your strategy. So your objective could be customer support. Your effort would be answering questions and responding to comments. And then your metric would be your measuring engagement. If you're looking for brand recognition, your effort will be building authority. And this is going to be measured by your reach and your total followers. Now, your content is going to be quite different from brand recognition to customer support. So this is again another reason to really clarify your objective. And the last example is sales and traffic. So your effort might be to promote certain products, to promote links to those products. Maybe you're sharing a lot of sales and promotions. And the metrics you're going to be paying attention to are traffic. Is there an increase in traffic to your website driven from Twitter? Are those people converting once they're on your website? So are they buying? And have you seen an increase in revenue? Each objective is a great example of ways that businesses can utilize Twitter. And once you've established that marketing objective, you can then create content that makes sense for that objective. And then you'll know how to actually measure it if you're being successful or if you need to tweak your efforts. I really want you to write down what your main marketing objective, or objectives plural, are on Twitter if you do have more than one. So take a few minutes to brainstorm what these objectives could be and decide if you'll be measuring these results by looking at things like engagement, traffic, or conversions. So you're going to be really clear on what your objective is and how you're going to get there. As a business, you'll be balancing tweets that maintain your community and tweets that are promotional in nature. Just as you have a marketing objective for your Twitter account in general, I encourage you to have an objective for each tweet that you publish. In order to get that objective, you're going to ask the question, what's the goal? A goal might be to drive traffic to your website or to encourage signups for an event. You could even be looking to earn retweets to expand the reach of your brand. Once that's been identified, you're going to start crafting a great tweet. The key to crafting a great tweet is first to identify the goal. This might be including a link to your website or event, along with copy that motivates a click, or it might be asking for a retweet and providing an incentive or inspirational reason to do so. Once you know what your call to action is, you can work to weave it into the message that a follower will engage with. People are more likely to share and respond to tweets that inspire or entertain them, whether they solve a problem or answer a difficult question. This is what people engage with on Twitter. And including a photo or video will only add to the power of your message. Regardless of your goal, try to keep the tweet conversational. Work towards a communication style that is genuine and approachable. One thing when using Twitter is to really understand that timeliness is key. Twitter happens in real time, so use that timing to your advantage. That means you're taking advantage of key trends, existing conversations, or the time your followers are most likely to be checking their Twitter account. You'll also want to identify key hashtags that add additional context to your messages. And this would be an example of taking advantage of key trends. When you're ready to publish your first tweet, you'll head over to your profile and let's take a look at how this appears. Here we are on the Topsy-Turvy Cake Design profile. And you can see that I've already selected to create a tweet and I have my content added. You'll notice that I have the body of the tweet itself, so completely obsessed with mirror glazed cakes. This is so my next project, any tips? With a hashtag cake art and hashtag cake is life. You'll also notice that I added an image. So this is way powerful when we're talking about a mirror glazed cake, which is something so visual and something so beautiful. You're going to want to add an image when possible. So it's really easy to add media, and you're going to do that just using the icons below. And you can also have an option to edit it if you select that paintbrush at the lower right-hand corner. So here you can see that I have tagged this content with the appropriate hashtags. I also am piggybacking on some timeliness because mirror glazed cakes are pretty on trend. And I've created or added an image that is eye-popping. I'm going to go ahead and select tweet. The tweet was sent. I'm going to select view. So here the tweet is live and in action. You'll also notice that I asked a question. This falls under the call to action piece. A call to action doesn't always have to be clicking a link or getting someone to buy something off your website. It could be that I'm genuinely looking for any tips that people have to offer on creating a mirror glazed cake, and this is a great way to facilitate or engage in some conversation. Each tweet you send out is a representation of your brand. Take some time to craft maybe 5 tweets that truly promote the heart of your business. This will help you engage with your customers as well as share valuable insight into your business. One of the most common questions I receive from people when it comes to Twitter is, how often should my business tweet? I wish there was a clear answer, but the truth is you'll have to test out what works best for your audience. At a minimum, I would recommend starting with a few tweets a day and then consider establishing a schedule. That will outline your content goal for each day. Then you'll find out information like what tweets perform best on what dates, and it'll help you review the impact of each tweet. It'll also provide some consistency for your new followers and allows you to gauge interest in particular types of content. You'll be able to see what's resonating with your followers, what isn't, so what information or tweets is missing the mark, And you might end up swapping your content schedule. Use the results then to create the schedule. So, say I notice that a promotion is gaining a lot of traffic on Monday, but my tweets on helpful tips was mediocre on Tuesdays. I might consider swapping those content ideas the following week. This way, I can see if Mondays are just better in general or if promotions always outperform helpful tips. The idea is that you'll be able to look at the impact of each tweet and discover what is and what isn't resonating with your audience. And then you can apply this back to your tweet schedule. Let's talk about this idea of a schedule. I want to give you an idea and get you started, even just thinking about how you might approach this as your brand. Take this and adapt as needed. Let's say we're planning a tweet once a day, Monday through Friday. I'd start by creating my content goals for each day. On Monday, I might want to focus on industry or company news. On Tuesday, perhaps I focus on a promotion or coupon. Wednesdays might be a behind the scenes type of day, so I'd share something unique and informative about my business process and why it's special. Thursday could be a little self-promotion, a quick nod to an article written about my brand, a recent press release, or a retweet of customer feedback. And then Friday, maybe I talk about my people, so the people behind the business. This way, if I highlight people that are behind the business, I can create a real sense of community. This is just a way to get you started, and it gives you some ideas that work really well on Twitter. The wonderful thing about Twitter is that it is short-lived and short content. So that means you're able to try a lot of different ideas and can put out a lot of content without a lot of work. This way you can test to see what works and what doesn't without spending a lot of time and a lot of money. This will help you build on that volume and consistency. When you're first starting out, build a tweet schedule that'll help you maintain a healthy volume of tweets necessary to grow your followers. Measuring your success is an important part of your Twitter strategy. As a business, you're likely interested in more than just how many followers you've acquired. And you're actually able to see some additional factors like the success of your tweets and how they're performing. Let's take a closer look at how we can track the success of an individual tweet. Right now, I'm in the profile for Topsy Cake Design. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to select the tweet that I'm interested in. So I'm going to choose this pinned tweet here simply by selecting on it. If I scroll down, I get a quick snapshot of how many likes and how much engagement has occurred. But I also can choose View Tweet Activity. And this is going to bring us to the tweet analytics. So up at the top, I can see the specific tweet. And below that, I can see the number of impressions. So this is how many times people saw this tweet on Twitter. I can see the media views. Well, because it is a video, I can see how many times this video has been viewed. And then I can see the total engagement. So how many times people have interacted with the tweet, like liking it, retweeting it, commenting on it. I can choose the View All Engagements option below, and that'll give us a little bit more information. So this is kind of important here. We can see how many times people have liked the tweet, but I really like the number of profile clicks. So this is the number of clicks on our name, the handle, or the profile photo that this tweet created. So that's going to show you that people are looking for more information. When they see a tweet, they are going to actually check out your profile. They're actually going to engage with you on a more personal level. So this is a great way to see not only how your tweets are performing and their reach, but if they're actually driving traffic to your profile page and building a following. Now, this is not the most robust tool, so we can actually exit out of here and we're going to go find Twitter Analytics. If you select More, it's here where you can choose Analytics on the left-hand side. You can also access the analytic dashboard by typing in analytics.twitter.com. And if you're logged in, it's automatically going to take you to a dashboard that looks really similar. It's here that I can see a 28-day summary overview of everything that's occurring in my account. And as a business, this is really important information. Up at the top here, I can see the tweet impressions. So this is how many impressions have occurred for my tweets. Next to that, I can see my profile visits, mentions, and followers as we move to the right. Now, you can change the summary, so you don't have to stick with the 28 days. As I scroll down, I see a snapshot per month of the highlights that have occurred with my account. So not much activity in August, as well as no new followers. If I scroll down to July, we have a little bit more activity. And we can see furthest to the right under the July 2019 summary our number of tweet impressions and profile visits. We'll also be able to see our top tweet, which earned 55 impressions, and then our top media tweet, which earned 33. So this is a great way to see which tweets are performing the best and what content your audience likes and engages with. This means that you can not reinvent the wheel, but repurpose this type of content and really understand the type of content that performs well. If I scroll down, again, we're going to see each month broken out. Now we are in the home dashboard and we can tell that at the top menu where home is underscored. Now if I select tweets, it's here that we're going to get more tweet specific analytics. This is where we're really truly going to be able to track the success of these tweets. As I scroll down to the right, we have some engagement information, and it's here that we can see things like retweets, likes, and replies. The top right is where we can choose a calendar and we can change our date range. And further to the right is where we can export this data so that you can get off the dashboard and you can view this information offline and typically in an Excel or CSV format. Twitter Analytics is a really robust tool to track the success on Twitter, and you're able to see how your tweets are performing. Don't be overwhelmed by this dashboard. The more you familiarize yourself with it, the easier it gets to understand. And understanding your data is critical in building a better strategy. And a better strategy will increase the likelihood that you achieve your marketing objectives on Twitter. So frequent Twitter Analytics to see how you are performing. With hundreds of millions of tweets flying around Twitter every day, the likelihood that someone is having a conversation you can add value to is high. Have you ever been to a coffee shop and overheard a conversation you could add value to? Some of us might jump right in, and really Twitter's like one big giant coffee shop. Only you can search for the exact conversations you want to join in on. We're going to look at a couple ways that you can search for these conversations. To be successful, you'll first start by making a list of keywords related to your business. Keywords that are also related to your products and even your competitors. Then, imagine yourself in a coffee shop, a trade show, or anywhere really that you're likely to find leads. Make another list of phrases, sentences, or keywords that would indicate to you, hey, that's an opportunity for me to make a sale. For topsy-turvy, I'm thinking keywords such as cake decorating, wedding cakes, cake recipes, and even pastry chef. I know that there are conversations right now happening around cake decorating recipes and also a lot of business tips. First, we'll start with our basic search. So the first step is to go to your profile. Once there, at the top right-hand corner is the Search Twitter option. If you click into it, it's here that you can see all your previous searches, as well as you can type in a brand new one. I'm going to go ahead and select cake decorating. Here it brings us to the Explore tab, and you can tell that we're there because on the left-hand side, Explore is highlighted in blue. We're in the top tweet stream, meaning that Twitter is showing us the top or the most popular tweets related to our search. To the right of that is latest, and that means that these are the most recent tweets that are related to cake decorating. So here we can see that there's a tweet from actually 3 minutes ago. Then to the right of that is people. So these are the people that are related to this topic or to the search term. So we do hope that when people search for this, Topsy-Turvy shows up as well. Here we can see Cake Craft Shop, and I'm going to go ahead and select that. You can also choose to dive a little bit deeper into the specific accounts, and then you can scroll through their tweets this way as well. Here we see a really neat jungle cake. So in order to jump in on this conversation or to engage, I'm going to use a dialog box, and I can always tweet or reply. A great example is they're providing a step-by-step tutorial. Well, maybe I made the cake. I took a picture and I want to share it with Cake Craft Shop. This is where I would do it. To the right of that, I also have the retweet option. So this is where I could retweet this recipe or this step-by-step tutorial to my followers, saying, hey, check this out, what an amazing cake. If I scroll back up, and I'm going to hit back and I'm going to go to our cake decorating search results. Now to the right, you'll notice the 3 circles. If I select that, it's here that I can choose an advanced search. An advanced search is going to let me really customize the results that I'm looking for. And it's here that I can get really specific about the words or phrases I'm choosing, the language that I'm searching in. I can also search from specific accounts. So say I'm looking for a cake recipe just from Martha Stewart Live or Martha Stewart Living. I can do that here. And below that, I can also create a date range for which I want tweets to fall under. This advanced search is a really interesting additional feature. To the right-hand side, you'll notice trends for you. So Twitter's going to do its best to try to find some trending topics that it thinks you're going to be interested in. The more that you begin using Twitter and engaging, the better curated these trends are going to be. At first, they might not be so relevant. Below that, they're going to give you some suggestions on who to follow. And this is another way to really figure out what conversations you want to join in and find people that you want to have conversations with. This is another great box that you might want to check regularly. Take a minute now to build and compile a search that really hones in on exactly the types of conversations you're looking for. And don't forget to create those keyword lists. Retweets are powerful. There's an incredible advantage to receiving a retweet just as much as retweeting someone else. As a business, understanding the true value of a retweet will help you find the strategy that allows you to maximize their impact. Let's start by talking about why retweeting is valuable. Earning a retweet acts like an endorsement. That means that someone in your network agrees with what you're saying enough to publish the same message out to their own audience. To get traction to really go viral, you're looking for a retweet. Any self-promotional marketing can appear a little biased, but with someone else retweeting your content, you receive a third-party recommendation. The more retweets, the more credibility that message has. Secondly, your initial audience is only so large. Let's say you have 500 followers. The reach of your tweet to an immediate audience is fairly small. If a user comes along with an engaged audience of 10,000 followers and retweets your post, the impact will be very noticeable. You'll have a huge audience receiving your tweet passively in their timeline. Suppose then another user retweets it and another and so on. You'll amass a fairly wide reach and leverage a completely new audience that's now interacting with your content. This type of marketing is unique. It becomes user-driven and you can go from 1 view to 1 million in just moments. Relationships are really the key to retweeting. Know the right people in your space and capitalize on trends. Then focus on delivering something meaningful that they want to retweet, and that is a winning formula. As you prospect for followers, entice high-value accounts that have lots of followers themselves to add you. On the other side, you have the opportunity to engage with individual accounts by retweeting their messages they've created, and that's what I consider being helpful. Not only does retweeting sometimes provide additional content for your followers, but it may get you noticed by the person or company you're retweeting. Let's go over exactly how you can retweet something on Twitter. Here I am on Twitter, and I found a tweet that I love. This one is all about the wild jungle cake. If I scroll down, at the bottom is where I'm able to interact with this tweet, and the retweet is symbolized by these 2 arrows. If I select that, I have 2 options. I can immediately retweet this whole tweet out to my followers, or I can retweet with a comment. If I choose retweet with a comment, you can see how it's going to look, and this is exactly how it's going to appear on Facebook. This is my opportunity to add a comment. So we have Topsy-Turvy Cake Design saying how great is this cake, and I'm adding it to my to create list. If I scroll down, I can select retweet. It's here, I can choose view, and this is the retweet itself. Now if I go home, it's here that I can see exactly how the retweet is going to look. Notice that people can then interact with the retweet itself. They can retweet this retweet, they can reply to it, they can like it, and then they can also send me a direct message. So this retweet is letting my audience know that I really enjoy this content, and Cake Craft Shop will also get a notification that their tweet has been retweeted. Gaining traction through retweets depends on being unique and timely. You can see that this cake and the tweet that we retweeted is very unique, and it's a very visually appealing piece of content to want to share out to your audience. There are no secret recipes for viral campaigns. The key is to be creative, authentic, and to stay on brand to help influence your users to retweet your content. Investing in Twitter advertising has its advantages. Social media advertising is fueled by the ability to not only get in front of highly relevant audiences, but to also encourage them to share and spread your message organically. As you build relationships and entice users with engaging ads, you'll unlock measurable business results. For some, that's increased web traffic and online sales, and for others, it's foot traffic or brand mentions on the web. For businesses, Twitter offers a self-service advertising platform. And with their platform, you can promote your entire account to a new audience, or even the audience of your competitor. Setting up an ad on Twitter is fairly straightforward. Your first step will be to set up your Twitter advertising account. To do that, you can visit ads.twitter.com and you'll arrive at a landing page that has a couple questions for you to answer. Another way to access Twitter ads is to head to your profile on Twitter, select the More tab on the left-hand side, and choose Twitter ads. If you have not yet already set up Twitter advertising, you're most likely going to be on a screen that's prompting you to choose your country and your time zone. You'll first need to answer those two questions before you're directed to the dashboard. Then you'll need to set up your funding account, and that's what you see here on the screen. Twitter is looking for me to add a credit card, and that will be what they tap when I start building my Twitter ads. I'm just going to exit out of that. It's here you can see our Twitter ads dashboard, where we have our campaigns, our creatives, our analytics tools, and then additional tools as well. Do note that before you get started with any campaign, you will need to add your credit card and billing information. Once you've added in your country code, your time zone, and your funding source, your advertising account is set up and you're ready to go. Before you do start creating your advertisements though, decide on your goals and define a test budget that you're willing to use with your first campaign. And then what you'll do is you will simply select campaigns and get started. Start small and scale up as you collect data and make improvements to your strategy. Don't be afraid to test. Running a campaign to get more followers on Twitter is all about building an advertisement that targets Twitter users and encourages them to follow your account. Attracting more followers builds your authority and provides you with a new audience to expose your content to. You will need to be strategic in getting your brand in front of the best audience. And this is an audience that'll be interested in what you have to say and is willing to follow you. My goal here is to give you a starting place, a simple ad that you can use to build on and learn from. If you are interested in diving deeper, be sure to check out my course specifically on advertising on Twitter. To set up our campaign, we first want to visit ads.twitter.com. And from this dashboard, we'll choose the Create New Campaign button in the upper right-hand corner. It'll bring you to the dashboard that you see here. Now, the first thing that you're going to do is to choose a campaign objective. We're running a followers objective, so we're going to choose followers. It's here that you're going to be brought to the dashboard and it's going to walk you through step by step on how to create your ad. Because I already have one on the go, I'm going to exit out of here and edit an existing campaign. Here we have the campaign that I have already set up. So it's a topsy-turvy campaign and the goal is to get more followers. You can see that I have that clearly in the campaign name. Below that, I've set a total budget for $25. My start date is from September 1st to September 30th. Choosing next, I'm going to be brought into our ad group. It's here that I figure I'm going to target bakers between the ages of 25 and 49. Now I can set different options like a start date, end date, and an ad group budget from this level, but I'm going to stick at the campaign level for simplicity. I'm also going to keep the bid type as automatic because this is just a simple ad that we're setting up. Notice at the top right, you select next to move through the steps, but you can also hit save draft and then you can come back at any time to resume your ad setup. From here at the top, you have your audiences. So if you have set up specific audiences, like say you uploaded an email list of your customers, that is where you would access it. We're going to skip down to demographics. It's here that I set up that I want to target any gender, and then I set up an age range from 25 to 49. Below that, I've kept locations, languages, and technologies blank because this is a more general following advertisement. Below, I've set up my audience features. This is going to be really important in creating your following campaign. So I've set up the keywords of baking, meringue, bakers, and cake. And I can also choose recommendations to see other recommendations that Twitter suggests. So perhaps I add in muffins, funfetti, and a cupcake. To the right, we can see that the audience summary is changing. So I've now targeted upwards of 5 million people to get my ad in front of. I'm going to select next, and that's going to take us to our creative section. So Twitter is all about tweets. This means that it's going to use tweets as advertisements to get in front of the people that we want to follow our account. I have 3 tweets selected, and if I choose preview, it's here that I can see the tweets and how they're going to appear. Now, I really want to emphasize how colorful and interesting my account is, so I've chosen tweets that really highlight beautiful cakes and recipes. To the right, I'm going to notice the placement. So the placement is going to be in users' timelines. So that means that these promoted tweets are going to show up in the home timeline of the specific people that we are targeting. It's also going to show up in the profile and tweet detail pages. So when people visit profiles and tweet detail pages on Twitter that are relevant, this is where my advertisement will show up as well. I'm going to go ahead and select next, and that's going to bring us to our campaign review. This is a brief highlight of everything that we set up for this campaign. So we have our objective, our ad group, and then the creatives. Once that's complete, you'll select Launch Campaign. Twitter will then review that campaign and your ad will start serving to your targeted people. Oftentimes, it's great to start a campaign and play with all the different options to familiarize yourself with the advertising tools. So take your time creating your first campaign and try out a whole bunch of different options, different keywords, locations, age ranges. That way you're going to see what works so that you can collect that data and make more informed decisions moving forward. This will increase the overall impact and success of your future advertisements. Creating a Twitter advertising campaign around tweet engagements is very similar to creating standard tweets that you share with your existing followers. A promoted tweet can be retweeted, replied to, and favorited. And just like standard tweets, they can include links, websites, and rich media. The difference is that you'll select a specific audience to receive your tweet, and you'll also pay for that tweet to show up. You pay each time someone engages with it, and Twitter tries to be a little vague when it mentions engagements, but you're basically paying anytime someone clicks on the tweet, either to reply, retweet, favorite, or even to view your profile page. Promoted tweets or tweet engagements will carry a flag that indicates they've been paid for, but users only see one promoted tweet in their timeline at any given moment, so you're not competing for a lot of real estate. Setting up a promoted tweet is very similar to setting up a promoted account, but there are a few minor differences. To get started, you'll head to ads.twitter.com, and on that dashboard, once you select Create Campaign, you'll see your campaign objectives dashboard. It's here because we're talking about tweet engagements that we would choose tweet engagements. This will take us through our step-by-step campaign setup. I already have the campaign on the go, so I'm going to exit out of there and find my campaign. Here we are on the Topsy-Turvy Promoted Tweet campaign. You'll notice that we have the funding source squared away, and then we have set a daily budget of $5. If you notice that the start date starts September 1st, but we don't have an end date, that means that I want this campaign to run until I manually turn it off, and I'll be paying $5 a day for it. I'm going to select Next. It's here that I have the ad group set up. So the ad group I want to target for this campaign are brick and mortar potential customers. So that's going to change who I target. I'm not going to set up any of the start date, end date, or budget at the ad group level. I'm going to stick with the campaign level for this one. Choosing Next, I'm now in my targeting section. If I had any audiences set up, like if I had uploaded an email address or I had a website pixel and I was getting active information on who's visiting my website, I would choose that for my audience. But to keep it simple, we're just going to choose some demographics. So here I have any gender selected. I have an age range set for 35 and up. And below, you'll notice that I have some locations. Because Topsy Turvy has a brick and mortar location in New Haven, Connecticut, I want to specifically target people in that geographic location. Below that, in addition to targeting people in the New Haven, Connecticut area, I also am targeting people that have expressed an interest in desserts and baking. Now, my goal is to get my tweets and my account in front of people that are more likely to come and walk into my physical store. So I want to entice them with some really great media. So if I choose preview, here you can see the tweets that I've chosen. So I've chosen first a tweet that shows off the portfolio of Topsy. Also, some really great recipe ideas, and below, again, the portfolio to show off what Topsy can really do for the client. When I select next, here we get a highlight of our campaign details. So we're running our tweet engagement campaign. Our daily budget is $5. We have an ad group that is targeting anyone that is male or female. They're 35 and up, and they live in the New Haven, Connecticut area. We also have the tweets that we want to be put in front of them, and those are our specific advertisements. Now that that's all set up, you can either select Save Draft before you're ready to publish, or you can choose Launch Campaign. Take some time to create some meaningful tests with enough budget to understand your results, and then you can refine as necessary until you meet your advertising objectives. You're not going to get it all perfect at first, so take your time, start small, and scale up from there. Let's take a look at how you can track your advertising results and how your tweets are performing. These metrics include information on individual tweets, engagements, and followers. I'm going to focus on how to access campaign-specific metrics that you'll use to understand the impact of your Twitter advertising. Each advertisement has its own set of metrics. And what's nice is Twitter not only tracks the engagements you're paying for, but also the organic attention your campaign has received. From within the campaign view, you'll find a dashboard similar to the one you see here, and you'll access it by heading to ads.twitter.com. It's here on this dashboard that you're going to see a snapshot of how your advertising campaigns are performing. You see really boldly what your spend is currently and the number of impressions you're receiving. Right now, Topsy Cake Design doesn't have any running campaigns, but this will give you a really good insight into what this is going to look like. At the top is where I can set my custom date range. At the far right top corner, where it says last 7 days, if I select that dropdown, it's here that I can choose the date range that I wish to view. Right now we're viewing the last 7 days, but let's do this year. To the left is where I can filter my results. So I can filter by objective, I can filter by the status, whether they're running, paused, or expired, and then I can even add more filters just to better curate the view of the dashboard. Further below is where I'm going to be able to filter and view my results by campaign, ad groups, ads, and even audience. When I select campaigns, it's here that it's going to bring me into the viewpoint of all the campaigns. And then all I do is simply click in, and I can see then the ad groups here, the ads themselves, and then the audience. Headed back to campaigns, this is where I'm going to see a high-level view of how my campaigns are performing. I'll see their status, when they started, when they're scheduled to end, the total budget, as well as the impressions, and finally the spend. But if I scroll over, I do get some additional options here. These columns are all customizable in the dashboard. And you're going to decide what metrics are the most important and set up your dashboard so that it reflects that information. Selecting ad groups, this is where you're going to see all your ad groups. And if I scroll over here, it's going to look very similar to the way the campaigns was sorted. Basically, the ad groups are the people that you're specifically targeting within your campaigns. And if I scroll down, I can see all the ad groups that I've set up. Ads are more granular, so these are your tweet previews. You can see really clearly which ones are performing the best and how much you're paying for these to show up. And the other tab might show up for you or might not. It is an advanced option. So sticking to tweets will be the best case scenario for you. Finally, audience. Unless you've began working with audiences and uploaded customer files and you have a pixel, this won't show up. This is an advanced feature and it is really exciting when you dig in. But for now, if we head back to the campaigns level, that's a really powerful view of what is happening in your Twitter advertising world. Use this dashboard to view your metrics, both in real time and after the completion of your campaigns. Measure the results against your marketing goals and make adjustments as needed when you go to launch your next campaign. With 500 million tweets popping up on Twitter every single day, you're going to want to find ways to cut through that noise and stand out from the crowd. Twitter is all about content. It's a main motivation to following a user. You might choose to follow an individual because they consistently tweet excellent puns, or you might follow a particular brand because you admire the amazing photos they share. You may even follow a brand because they consistently provide you with valuable information related to your interests. Whatever it is, on Twitter, the tweets that receive the most interactions are relatable, excellent, and unique. So this means that you need to find ways to be relatable, to be excellent, and to be unique. Your goal, essentially, is to be useful to your audience. What do they respond well to? What do they need? And why are you going to provide it? Your tweets need to be excellent for that audience, and every audience is different. Some respond to humor, others to more visual messages. So take your message and make it high quality. In addition, weave your sales pitch into it. With our example, Topsy Turvy Cake Design, they need to sell their custom cakes. That's their goal, but it's not good enough to post a tweet that says, "Buy our cakes." Instead, we first need to make it relatable. In our case, our audience loves cake. In fact, pretty much everyone loves cake. That's the relatable factor that Topsy Turvy is going to emphasize. Next, we need to be excellent. For that, we could be a little bit different, and that means that Topsy Turvy is going to focus on allergy-friendly cakes that actually taste good. We've all had that allergy-friendly cake that doesn't. If they can differentiate themselves to make amazing cakes that no one knows the difference, that is pure excellence. And finally, be unique. They could lead with their funky, one-of-a-kind custom cake designs. In fact, that's really what they're known for, and that's what sets them apart from other bakeries and other cake decorators. Now, the last tip in creating exciting content, now that you have a good idea of how you can position your message, is using media to support it. That includes videos, images, and even GIFs. With all the free stock photography out there, it makes it really easy to find and share compelling images. Did you know that you can even get stock video? You can also get stock audio, which is really amazing. By taking time to focus on exciting content and understanding what really differentiates you from your competitors, you'll find that your ability to organically gain new followers will increase. And it's also much more fun to create content that you're passionate about. A huge motivation for fans to follow businesses on Twitter is to capture special offers. And this works best for businesses that receive a benefit to repeat purchase or have a long lead time to converting a customer. The keys to a compelling offer are that it is valuable, novel, urgent, and thematic. For a follower to act on an offer, they have to feel like it's a great value. It's got to be good enough that they'll share it with excitement because they think they've stumbled onto a gold mine. Using Topsy Turvy Cake Design as our example, yes, they are a bakery with a brick and mortar store, but they also offer custom baking certifications. They'll teach via their online course how to custom design your own cakes and how to become a certified custom cake decorator. That's where the novelty comes in. Now, there might be many of those types of courses online, but what sets Topsy Turvy apart is that they specialize in allergy-friendly cakes. This means that no one else has a value along with a novelty like Topsy Turvy. Their offer for this online cake decorating certification course is that it has that novelty along with the value. Next, they're going to want to make sure that they have the urgency, so they'll limit the registration to only 50 bakers. This will entice people to act quickly. We don't want this offer sitting around stagnant for a long period of time. Twitter especially moves at a fast pace. You have a follower's attention for a limited span of time, so take advantage of that and the fact that you want them to click right away. How urgent can you make your offer depends on your business, and it also depends on how pushy you want to get with your fan base. Finally, the offer will benefit from being thematic. Why is Black Friday one of the most popular consumer holidays? Because it only happens one day a year. And people know there's going to be extreme value and deals that they're going to be able to get at a slashed rate. So using themes like holidays or special events helps create a compelling offer and promotion. Maybe it's a charitable opportunity or even related to a sporting event. Perhaps we bought too many of this product and our loss is your gain. Maybe that's your marketing spiel right there. Major marketers use themes to drive up engagement on sales. Apply the same logic to your own tweets. Make offers a special event, and that way users want to remain followers. You don't have to be in the box when it comes to this, but you can be creative. Whether you're an online retailer or brick and mortar bakery, start thinking about really what's going to pique the interests of your users. And when in doubt, ask them, hey, if I was going to create a dealer promotion for you, what would be the most exciting thing I could create? Your audience will provide valuable feedback. Use this as an opportunity by creating and promoting exciting content. Twitter has a suite of embeddable buttons allowing users to quickly share links, hashtags, follow users, and mention an account directly from any page off of your website. To take advantage of these integrations, you'll need a basic understanding of HTML and have the ability to manually update your website. If you're using WordPress, you can include the code by using the text view or code insert tool. There's also a lot of plugins available to help with this. Let's take a look at Twitter buttons. You're going to find those at publish.twitter.com, and that's where I am right now. With this tool, it's super easy to create the exact integration you're looking for. If you're technically advanced and want a complete range of customizations, you can read more about buttons at developer.twitter.com. On this page, I'm getting asked the simple question, what would you like to embed? So what I'm going to do is choose from the drop-down arrow. It's here that I can get a full list of all the embeddable options. If I'm a little unclear, I can scroll down and browse my options here. First, I'm going to select Twitter buttons. And what's neat is that Twitter's going to pop up a dialog box with snippets or examples of how each button is going to look. Here I see 5 different options. I have the share button, the follow button, the mention button, hashtag button, and message button. The follow button allows users to easily follow your account from your website. You can have one button across your entire website, or if you have a team page, for example, you can place a follower button under each team member, linking directly to their individual Twitter account. The hashtag button places a hashtag you've indicated in the tweet box and in the actual button itself. The message button makes it easy for users to send direct messages to your Twitter account's inbox. And the share button allows users to quickly share a snippet of content onto Twitter. Each button can be customized to fit your needs, so let's take a look at that process. I'm going to choose the share button option. Twitter makes it super easy, so all I have to do now is copy the code, and then I'll place the code in the area of my website that I want to include it. Most likely that would be at the bottom of a blog post, encouraging people to share that. But let's take a look at the customization options so we can see really what this information contains. So do you want to pre-fill the tweet text? This is really interesting. So say you have a DIY guide or something similar. You can pre-fill the content that will be shared. So here we're pre-filling the tweet text to say, loving the DIY cake decorating guide, get yours here link. And here Twitter's asking, do you want to set a specific URL in the tweet? So we're going to do automatic. Would you like this tweet to include your username? Absolutely. So we're going to enter in our username. Would you like to set a hashtag for the tweet? Absolutely. So we could set DIY cake guide or whatever hashtag makes sense. We have an option to recommend accounts, so we're going to leave that blank. And then we can choose whether it's a large button or not, and we can see it reflected in the preview below. We're able to choose our language, and then we're going to update. So here we can see our share button has been completed. This code is what you are going to place in the HTML portion of your site. If you're a little bit confused about this, you'll be able to Google it on your, whether you Shopify or WordPress, or send it to your website developer. They'll be able to help you out. All of these buttons work the same way, and it's really worth it tinkering with them and figuring it out. Once you're done customizing, again, you grab the code, place it in a spot that makes sense for your marketing goals. Use Twitter buttons to add interactivity to your site and promote social sharing. Making sharing a seamless experience will increase the visibility for your brand and provide the starting point for viral conversations. This course on marketing your business on Twitter is a powerful starting point in unlocking the potential of social and online marketing. Now that you have a Twitter profile set up and have crafted some engaging tweets, it's important that you maintain your consistency and build momentum on Twitter. Explore a tool like Buffer or Hootsuite to begin scheduling your tweets and measuring your efforts. You'll begin to see interactions happen on Twitter that never would have been possible before. Twitter is a perfect channel for your business, and your next step might be to begin running some advertising campaigns. Be sure to check out my Twitter advertising course to learn how to create effective and creative Twitter ad campaigns. And finally, I'd love to see how you're doing. Be sure to show off your new profile by connecting with me on Twitter at @SocialMegAdams. It's been amazing showing you how you can leverage Twitter for your business. And I wish you all the success in the world as you connect with customers and prospects. Thanks again for watching.